First time out for the new Lotus Ford in the 1967 Grand Prix scene was at Zandvoort, Holland. Conjecture by pit pundits and pressmen had gone on over the first two championship events. Now at the start of the third Grand Prix, the Ford-powered Lotus was here. A challenge to a sport that thrives on the excitement of a new machine. The engine had been fitted to the car only a few days before. A quick trial at Snetterton, some impressive practice laps with inevitable teething troubles, and here they were, raring to go against the world's top racing machinery. Jim Clark had not even seen the new car until he reached Zandvoort, and teammate Graham Hill had only managed a few hours behind the wheel. Some months before, Ford commissioned Keith Duckworth and Mike Costin to set up a Formula One program. The Formula 2 engine, based on the Cortina block, was soon dominant in its class. Its 3-litre brother was an engineering concept of lightweight, compact dimensions, and overall simplicity, built to power Colin Chapman's new Lotus. The short 3-litre V8 engine, cast in aluminium alloy and developing 410 brake horsepower, was an integral part of the whole car. It supported not only the rear suspension, but the monocoque body as well. Familiar figures were climbing into their cars. Graham Hill's record practice laps giving him pole position on the grid. John Surtees, Honda. Jackie Stewart, BRM. Jack Brabham, Repco Brabham. A fast, though confused start, but there's no doubt about Graham Hill's lightning dash from the front position to lead the main pack of Brabham, Rindt, Gurney, Eamon and Clark. Denny Hulme began to shed oil almost from the start, but the rest of the grid were shaking themselves down in the first few laps, with Hill steadily increasing his lead on Brabham. Dan Gurney in his Eagle Westlake had already nipped into his pit on the 7th lap, complaining of an irregular engine. Now, on the 8th, a broken fuel injection unit brought him to a halt in the same spot where he had retired the previous year. Now it was Graham Hill in trouble, with only 10 laps on the board. Coming to a halt on the far side of the sand dunes, he had to walk his car back to the pits, where the Lotus team finally diagnosed a broken tooth in the timing gear. Jack Brabham was now in the lead. Until now, Jim Clark had been happy to lie 4th and get the feel of the new car. But with his teammate pit-bound, the Flying Scotsman began to get up steam with the style that has brought the crowds to their feet at so many international events. He set about thrusting his way through the leaders, taking the lead from Brabham on the 16th lap. Although he increased his lead at almost every lap, Clark kept the pressure on his rivals. The Honda had already been lapped by Clark, and Surtees struggled on with an ailing car, being forced to retire in the latter part of the race. The battle for 2nd place raged on between Brabham and Chris Amon in the Ferrari. Clark hurtled past the flag, the triumphant end of a great race by a great driver in a great new car. No wonder there was jubilation in the Ford camp. Not since Fangio won in a Mercedes in 1954 had a Formula One car performed so magnificently on its first outing. And Fangio had 6 months' practice under his belt. Jubilation, too, for the men who made it all possible. Keith Duckworth, Colin Chapman, the Lotus mechanics and the Ford engineers. Jubilation mingled with relief as they saw their long months of slogging and endeavor so superbly rewarded. But it was only the beginning. The best was yet to come.